This is the development that changes everything. For weeks, the investigation into the disappearance of Lynette Hooker has been building layer by layer. The timestamp discrepancy, the missing green cover-up description, the 9-hour timeline, the mystery boat Azura. Each piece added weight to the questions surrounding Brian Hooker's account of what happened on the night of April 4th. Each piece contributed to a picture that investigators were assembling carefully. And now, the GPS data from Brian Hooker's electronic devices has been extracted, analyzed, and compared against the account he gave to investigators. According to multiple U.S. officials who spoke to ABC News and NBC News, what Brian Hooker told investigators does not match the GPS data derived from his electronic devices. That is the official statement from U.S. law enforcement sources, confirmed across multiple major news organizations. The account he gave, the GPS data from his devices, they do not match. That finding is so significant that it has prompted the Coast Guard Investigative Service to prepare to send divers back into the Sea of Abaco, into areas that were previously not searched, areas that the GPS data has now identified as relevant, areas that, according to a U.S. official cited by NBC News, investigators may have not searched initially because the account they were given led them to look in the wrong place. Welcome to True Crime Vault. What I am about to go through with you is based entirely on confirmed reporting from ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, and News Nation. Every development I am covering today is sourced, documented, and verified. Before we go any further, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. This case has just entered a phase that nobody who has been following it could have fully anticipated. Like this video, share it, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. What does it mean to you that the GPS data and the account do not match? I want to hear from you. Now let's go through every confirmed development. The first thing to understand is what happened to the Soulmate. Brian Hooker's yacht, the 55-foot sailing sloop where he and Lynette had lived for years, the vessel named Soulmate that has been moored in the Bahamas since the night of April 4th, was seized by the U.S. Coast Guard Investigative Service. CBS News confirmed that CGIS took possession of the vessel. According to reporting from ABC News and other outlets, the boat has since been moved to Florida, where it is currently docked. The seizure of the vessel means that every piece of electronic equipment on board, every navigation system, every communication device, every data log produced by that boat's extensive suite of electronics is now in the hands of federal investigators. And those investigators found something. According to a U.S. official cited in ABC News reporting, forensic evidence recovered from the electronic devices of Brian Hooker has led investigators to new areas of interest that were previously not searched. The GPS data from at least one of those devices does not align with the account Brian gave to police. That official statement tells us several things simultaneously. It tells us that the GPS data was successfully extracted and analyzed. It tells us that the analysis produced findings specific enough to identify particular geographic areas. And it tells us that those areas are different enough from where Brian said events occurred that investigators believe the initial search was conducted in the wrong location. According to NBC News reporting, a U.S. official said specifically that Brian Hooker's account caused investigators to search in the wrong area of the Sea of Abaco while they were looking for Lynette. That is a precise and significant statement. It means the search that was conducted in the days and weeks after April 4th, the search that covered sea, shoreline, and aerial routes without finding Lynette, may have been focused on the wrong geography because the geography in the account was not consistent with what the GPS data shows. CBS News confirmed additional details. GPS information extracted from at least one electronic device has identified previously unsearched areas where divers should now look for additional evidence, including Lynette Hooker's body. The FBI is processing evidence from this case at its facility in Quantico, Virginia. The breadth of that institutional involvement, CGIS, the Coast Guard, the FBI's Quantico facility, reflects how seriously the federal government is treating this investigation. Now let's talk about the thermal camera, because this development, confirmed by News Nation approximately 1 week before the GPS revelations, adds a specific and significant dimension to what the GPS finding means. Brian Hooker's friend Daniel Danforth, the same friend who told CBS News that Brian's text messages described Lynette as swimming toward the sailboat, while police said he reported her swimming toward shore. Gave a statement to News Nation in late May. Danforth told News Nation that the Soulmate was equipped with a FLIR thermal camera, $33,000, forward-looking infrared, a system capable of detecting heat signatures in complete darkness, including people in open water at night. According to Danforth, Brian Hooker did not use that thermal camera on the night Lynette went overboard. Danforth told News Nation that he informed the Coast Guard about the thermal camera in early May, before CGIS seized the Soulmate sometime between May 8th and May 10th. He said that when he mentioned it to investigators, they were very interested and that it was the first time they had heard about that system being on the boat. Let's hold all of those pieces together. A $33,000 thermal night vision system that allows someone to see heat signatures in complete darkness on open water at night was installed on the Soulmate. Brian Hooker's account for why he could not find Lynette in the water was that it was too dark, that the moon had not yet risen and visibility was too low. The thermal camera on his boat, designed specifically to overcome exactly those conditions, was not used. And federal investigators, at the point when a friend of Brian's mentioned its existence, were hearing about it for the first time. That camera is now in the possession of CGIS, along with the rest of the vessel's electronics and systems, seized under warrant and docked in Florida. Whether the camera's own logs or data, modern FLIR systems can record footage, form part of the forensic picture being analyzed, is not something that has been publicly disclosed. But the camera exists. It was on that boat, it was not used, and investigators now know it was there. Now let's talk about the DNA. CBS News confirmed that Coast Guard investigators have asked family members of Lynette Hooker to provide their DNA to assist in the investigation. Family members confirmed this directly to CBS News. According to CBS reporting, investigators believe the GPS information extracted from electronic devices has identified previously unsearched areas where divers should now look for additional evidence, including Lynette Hooker's body. The DNA collection from family members is consistent with preparation for the possibility of a physical recovery, ensuring that any remains found can be definitively identified. The collection of family DNA is a standard forensic step in a missing person investigation where physical recovery is being actively prepared for. Its occurrence here, confirmed by family members to CBS News, tells us that investigators have reached a point in their analysis where they believe specific areas need to be searched and are preparing for what divers may find there. The Coast Guard is seeking permission from Bahamian authorities to send U.S. divers into the Sea of Abaco to search those new areas. That request is being pursued, and the divers have now arrived. Let's slow down on what the GPS contradiction specifically means in the context of this investigation, because it is easy to hear GPS data doesn't match the account and not fully grasp the weight of that finding. Brian Hooker gave investigators a specific account of where he was and what he was doing during the 9 hours between leaving the Abaco Inn and arriving at the Marsh Harbor Boatyard. He gave them a departure location. He gave them a route. He gave them a destination for where he last saw Lynette in the water. He gave investigators the geographic framework of that night, the spots, the distances, the directions. That account was the basis for the search. Investigators focused their aerial and marine search resources on the area Brian described. The search covered those waters. It produced nothing. Now the GPS data from Brian's electronic devices tells a different geographic story. The data places him, or the vessel he was on, at locations that differ from the account he gave. And those locations are the locations that investigators now believe they should have been searching all along. The search was looking in the wrong area, according to a U.S. official, because the account pointed investigators there. And the GPS says something different. This is not an abstract inconsistency. This is the investigation discovering that the foundational geographic framework of the search, the place they were told to look, was not consistent with the device data that recorded where things actually were. And the consequence of that discovery is that divers are now preparing to enter new areas of the Sea of Abaco that no one searched in the weeks after April 4th, because no one knew to search there. The FBI's involvement at the Quantico facility adds another dimension that deserves attention. Quantico is the FBI's primary forensic laboratory complex. It is where the Bureau processes the most significant and complex physical and digital evidence from federal investigations. The fact that evidence from this case is being analyzed at Quantico tells you about the scale of federal institutional engagement. This is not a case being processed by a field office on its regular workload. The evidence is at the main forensic laboratory of the FBI, being worked by the specialists who handle the Bureau's most significant cases. Now let's also spend a moment on something that may seem like a procedural detail, but that speaks to the institutional machinery that is now fully engaged in this investigation. The reason the Coast Guard has to request formal Bahamian permission to conduct a dive operation, even though the vessel involved is U.S. flagged, is that the search would take place in Bahamian territorial waters. That request process requires diplomatic coordination between the two governments. The fact that the Coast Guard is formally pursuing that permission, filing the request, coordinating with Bahamian authorities, means that what the GPS data shows is specific and actionable enough to justify the formal international request. This is not a general desire to search more water. This is investigators saying, we know specific areas we need to examine, and we need permission to send divers into those specific areas. And as of the most recent confirmed reporting, those divers have arrived in the Bahamas. The search is beginning. What is confirmed? GPS data from Brian Hooker's electronic devices does not match the account he gave to investigators. This is confirmed by multiple U.S. officials across multiple major news organizations, including ABC News and NBC News. What is confirmed? The GPS data has led investigators to identify new geographic areas of interest that were not previously searched. This is confirmed by U.S. officials cited in ABC News reporting. What is confirmed? The Coast Guard has seized the Soulmate, and it is now docked in Florida. This is confirmed by CBS News. What is confirmed? FBI analysts at the Quantico facility are processing evidence from this case. This is confirmed by CBS News. What is confirmed? DNA has been requested from Lynette's family members. This is confirmed by family members directly to CBS News. What is confirmed? Coast Guard divers have arrived in the Bahamas to begin a new search in the areas identified by the GPS data. This is confirmed by CNN and KVIA reporting within the last 24 hours. What is confirmed? The Soulmate carried a $33,000 FLIR thermal camera capable of detecting people in the water at night, and Brian Hooker did not use it. This is confirmed by Daniel Danforth to News Nation. What is not confirmed? What specifically the GPS data shows beyond the fact that it contradicts the account, the specific coordinates or areas of interest, the specific nature of the contradiction. What, if anything, has been found in the new search areas? Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime. He has consistently denied any wrongdoing. His attorney, Terrell Butler, declined to comment on the new search and GPS developments, citing the ongoing investigation. He is presumed innocent. Nothing in this video is presented as a criminal accusation. But let's take a step back from the legal framework and look at the investigative picture as it stands today, because what has happened in the last 2 weeks is qualitatively different from what came before. The investigation began with an account. A man saying his wife fell overboard from a small dinghy in choppy conditions, that the engine died, that he paddled for hours, that he could not find her because it was too dark. The investigation then found inconsistencies in that account. A departure time that surveillance footage placed 52 minutes earlier than what was told to police. A green cover-up never mentioned to search teams. A description of Lynette swimming toward the yacht that conflicted with what was told to Bahamian police about her swimming toward shore. A 9-hour timeline that the physics of the vessel and the distance did not comfortably accommodate. The investigation then found the recorded phone call in which Brian described the event using the word bounced and described a sequence of conditions that conflicted with the documented sunset time. The investigation then found that the boat had a thermal camera capable of finding a person in the water at night that was never used. And now the investigation has extracted GPS data from Brian Hooker's electronic devices, compared it against the account he gave, and found that they do not match. And that discrepancy has led investigators to previously unsearched areas of the Sea of Abaco. And divers are in the water. This is not a case that is stalling. This is a case that has moved from witness accounts to documentary evidence to physical forensic investigation, following a trail that has become more specific, not less, with every piece of evidence examined. Lynette Hooker's daughter, Carly, has been the constant human voice of this investigation from the beginning. She doubted the account from the moment she heard it. She flew to the Bahamas. She spoke to investigators. She sat on a dock and talked to the water. And she has watched over the course of 2 months as every question she raised has been followed by investigators who found, at each step, that the evidence supported the questions. Lynette's mother, Darlene Hamlet, told reporters that authorities have not kept her fully updated on the investigation and that she has not spoken to Brian Hooker. She declined to comment further beyond confirming that the family had been asked for DNA. These are the two women who are living this, not as a case to analyze, as the reality of every day. If you have any information related to the disappearance of Lynette Hooker, please contact the Royal Bahamas Police Force or the U.S. Coast Guard Investigative Service. Both investigations remain active. Tips can be submitted through the CGIS Tips application, available on iOS and Android. Subscribe to True Crime Vault right now. Hit that notification bell. This case is at a turning point. Divers are in the water, GPS data is contradicting the account, the FBI is processing evidence at Quantico. Every development matters and you need to be here for each one. Like this video, share it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What does it mean to you that the GPS data and Brian's account do not match? Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime. He denies all wrongdoing. All individuals referenced are presumed innocent unless formally charged and convicted in a court of law. Lynette Hooker deserves to be found. Her family deserves answers. And the investigation, following the GPS data to the places the account never pointed to, is closer to those answers than it has ever been. True Crime Vault. Unlocking the cases that deserve to be remembered. The arc of this investigation from April 4th to today tells its own story, and it is worth laying out clearly because each layer built on the one before it. It began with an account, a man saying his wife fell overboard in dark, choppy conditions, that the engine stopped, that he paddled for hours, that he could not find her because it was too dark. The first layer of inconsistency came from the documentary record. A time-stamped photograph placed departure 52 minutes earlier than Brian stated to police. Surveillance footage confirmed that departure time. The departure time Brian gave police was not consistent with the physical evidence. The second layer came from witnesses on the ground. Jim Todd from Hopetown Fire and Rescue, physically present with Brian the morning after, said the earlier departure time placed the incident in full daylight. The search teams were never told about the green cover-up Lynette was wearing, visible in that time-stamped photograph. The bartender who served Brian said 4 miles of open water should not require 8 to 10 hours. The third layer came from the recorded phone call. Brian, speaking to trusted friends without knowing he was being recorded, used the word bounced to describe how Lynette entered the water. He described the sun setting 10 minutes after she fell, inconsistent with documented sunset data. He described her swimming toward the sailboat, directly contradicting what he told police, which was that she swam toward shore. The fourth layer came from the vessel itself. A $33,000 thermal camera capable of seeing people in the water at night was on the Soulmate. It was not used. The satellite tracking signal was offline for approximately 11 hours. The vessel's solar system makes an accidental power failure an extremely difficult explanation for that duration. Now the fifth layer. GPS data from Brian's electronic devices does not match his account. That data has pointed investigators to previously unsearched areas. Divers are in the water. Each layer has not stood alone. Each has reinforced and extended the others. 5 independent streams of evidence: the timestamp record, eyewitness testimony, a recorded phone call, the vessel's own equipment, and now GPS device data, are all inconsistent with the account in ways that point in the same direction. Carly Aylesworth doubted the account from the moment she heard it on a voicemail. She flew to the Bahamas. She walked the shorelines. She gave formal statements to federal investigators. She has watched every question she asked get answered by evidence that supported the question. Darlene Hamlet gave her DNA so that whatever divers find in those new search areas can be identified. That is where this family is today. Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime. He denies all wrongdoing. His attorney declined to comment on the GPS and dive developments, citing the ongoing investigation. All individuals are presumed innocent. Nothing said here is a criminal accusation, but the divers are in the water, following GPS data, looking in places they were not told to look before, and Lynette Hooker deserves to be found. Subscribe to True Crime Vault. Hit the notification bell, like and share this video. This case is at the most significant moment it has reached since April 4th, and every development that comes next matters. I will be here for every one of them. Lynette Hooker, not going anywhere for a while. She should still be there. True Crime Vault, unlocking the cases that deserve to be remembered.